Confidence is a scam, not the feeling. All this advice. Just believe in yourself. Fake it till you make it. Just act more confident. None of this works. You know that because you tried it all, and I did too. Do you know what actually works? Being terrified and doing it anyway. That is not confidence, that is courage. And confidence is just the receipt. Marty, maybe you go and live your life how you want to, but I can't. I'm not that type of person, okay? I hear this all the time, and I get it. I really do. Because some years ago, I used to say the same thing about other people. But every time someone tells me this, I notice something. They always say, I'm not confident enough. Confident. That is the word that keeps coming up. Like confidence is this thing that you need to collect before you even allowed to act. And I think that's the wrong word, because what they are actually missing isn't confidence. It's courage. And those two are not the same. Confidence says, I know I can do this. This is a statement about the past. You've done it before, you have proof, you trust yourself. Courage says, I have no idea if I can do this. Let's find out. This is a statement about right now. No proof, no guarantee, no prior experience. And everyone is sitting around waiting for the first one, while the second one is the only way to get there. I quit my only real job without a backup plan. With a paper in my hand, shaking, crying in front of my boss, that wasn't confidence. And everything I have today, my own business, earning my own money, moving across the world, this channel, that started in that small moment where I trusted myself. Most people think it goes like this, and that's the advice you always get. You gotta feel confident first, and then you take action. And it makes kind of sense, right? Believe in yourself, get your mindset right, and then go do it. But that's completely backwards. And the actual sequence looks like this. First, courage. You go out, you don't feel ready, you're terrified, and you do it anyway. And it will be cringe and awkward. You won't be perfect or you won't be good at all, but that doesn't matter because you moved. You went one tiny step, and that's enough. Because the second step is competence. You do it again and again and again. And every time it gets a little less terrifying and you get a little better. You slowly start figuring out how everything works. Your comfort zone gets bigger. And then, almost without you noticing, confidence shows up. Because your brain has collected so much evidence that you won't die when you do something you're terrified of. But confidence didn't start the process. It shows up at the end like a receipt. It's the proof that the transaction already happened. And the transaction is gathering your courage to do it, to become more competent. And the reason that works is actually biological, because your brain has two separate systems. One is constantly scanning for danger. Don't risk it. Don't embarrass yourself. Stay safe, please. And the other one is pushing you towards the reward. That's the voice that says, I want to try that. That sounds so exciting. And they run independently. Courage is what happens when you quiet the alarm just enough to take one step. Not a giant leap that we all want to make, but just one tiny step. And that step is the evidence for your brain I was talking about. Okay, we did a tiny step. We didn't die. Let's try it once more and make it a little bigger. Let me show you what this actually looks like in real life. It's Tuesday, early morning at the agency, and I've written my boss a message that I want to talk to him. And now I'm waiting for him to arrive, and I want to tell him that I'm gonna quit after 5 years. The night before, I couldn't sleep at all. And I have written down word for word what I'm going to say to him. And I read it aloud. I practiced before. Because I know myself, every time I'm sitting in front of that man, my brain goes offline. I become small and scared, and I have no idea what I wanted to say. So I needed it on paper. And while I'm sitting at my desk, I'm freaking out. I'm hot and cold. I'm shaking. Do I really want to do this? Can't I rewind time? Maybe it isn't that bad here. And he has neither responded nor shown up. So I go to the bathroom, my safe space. I lock the door. My palms are wet. My heart is racing, but I know what to do. I shake out my hands. I jump a few times, whatever my body needs to let go of that tension. And then I do box breathing. Breathe in for 4, hold for 4, breathe out for 4, hold for 4. Again and again until my breath comes back and until I'm not dying inside anymore. And when I sit down, he comes. Let's go upstairs. We sit down and I look at him and say, I'm so nervous. I have prepared notes and I'm going to read them. And I read them. My voice is shaking, my eyes full of tears, my hands trembling with the paper. And then it was done. I walk out of the room and the relief comes. I didn't quit because I was courageous already in any way. I was not ready for how that would feel. But I was courageous enough to show myself unready in front of another person. And what people call confidence came months and now years later, when I slowly started building my own business, when I had my first clients paying me my money. And even then, those moments of I'm terrified still come up, but I have so many receipts that my brain can calm down and I continue to be courageous. So that thing you have been sitting on, finally moving out of your parents' house, finally leaving your country, finally filing for divorce. So here it is, permission granted. And this formula, courage, competence, confidence, that's the foundation. But there will be a moment, and I can promise you that, where your body will just panic and your brain will go offline. The bigger the decision or the change you want to make, the bigger the reaction, and no formula or pep talk is going to help here. But you need something for that moment, and I have just the perfect solution. There is the psychologist called biswas-diener, and he's basically the Indiana Jones of positive psychology because he did his research in the jungles, in the deserts, in the ice, and not in the lab. And he had one coaching client, an actress, and she loved acting. She really loved it, but auditions send her straight into panic mode. The blinding lights, everyone expects to see the perfect performance. And she's sitting with biswas-diener in a coaching session and crying. I love this so much, but when I'm walking in that room, I just can't describe how scared I am. And then I fail every time. So what helps you when you're scared? Support from friends. When someone has my back, then I can do it, but not alone. Interesting. Have you ever asked Lars for support? Lars? I don't think I know a Lars. He reaches into his pocket and he pulls out a tiny action figure. Jungle gear, safari helmet. This is Lars. He travels with me everywhere. He has been in the desert. He has been in the jungle. He fought with bears and snakes. He's not afraid of anything. And he's especially not afraid of auditions. Take him. Keep him in your pocket. She carried Lars to every audition, and years later, he is still on her desk. And every time she looks at him, she feels stronger. Now, Lars is just a piece of plastic. We all know that, but humans are wired for magical thinking, especially when we are afraid. That is why athletes have lucky socks. That is why we cross our fingers when hoping for something. It is not logical, but it works. My personal Lars is this. She is called Uta from the One Piece anime, and she is a singer who uses her voice to change the world to be how she wants it to be. And when I was in Japan, I collected dozens of figures of Uta. And she reminds me to always use my voice, even when it shakes. Courage and self-expression. So what would your talisman be? Maybe a ring, a coin, something from your favorite story, a piece of clothing. Anything works. Tell me in the comments. I'm really curious. Look, and I know how this goes when we watch these kinds of videos. We nod along and think, yeah, I should do that. And then we close the tab, go back into our hamster wheel, and nothing changes. But you didn't watch 10 minutes of this because you're fine and because you love your hamster wheel. You watched it because you want something to change. That conversation you've been putting off, or that move that you've been planning for years. That email in your drafts folder that you have rewritten 4 times and never sent. You are not going to feel ready to do that. You are never going to feel ready. And that's not a problem, because that is not how courage works. It will always feel too soon and too scary. And that's the moment when you grab your Lars, whatever it is, and go. Courage first, my friend. Confidence comes later. And if you feel that there is something bigger beneath the fear, beneath the overthinking, then I suggest you watch this next.